Welcome back to TheChowTimePod. It's your host, Red. I got a video today from It's Complicated channel. Haven't featured him in a while. Love the man. Interview skills are amazing. I actually wish to do some videos with him, some content with him. If I'm ever in Vegas or he invites me, I would love to do it. And, defining masculinity. What do people think it is? I'm sure I know what most women think it is, but let's see. Please like and subscribe down below. I really appreciate that. And let's get to that chow. It's chow time.
Because a woman is soft. She's power. She's God. She's able to have a child. So you can give her the world, but it's not even big enough for her.
I hate male feminists. So
what's the difference between feminist women shaming men for
Oh, she's a valuetainment person. I see the hat.
being men and traditional women shaming men for not being real men?
tradcons are undercover feminists.
I somewhat agree. I somewhat agree with that. They know what men want, so they want to portray what men want just to make money off of them. I do believe that a lot of the tradcons are that way.
Why is it when we talk about women's issues, it's considered the war on women, but when we talk about men's issues, it's considered the war on masculinity?
Yeah, because America's bullshit and men deserve rights too.
That we do.
I'm not a woman. I'm not a woman who's like women rights. I will be glad.
I was gonna say it, she said, I'm not a woman. I was like, she looks like a woman to me.
I had to cook and clean and stay home.
I guess because women feel like they've been victimized for a long time. So they're making up for lost time. I'm not sure exactly how to put that.
Why don't we consider it a war on men any more than we consider it a war on femininity?
Because if we're looking back at the women feel they've been victimized over a long period of time, if they were the victim, then that would make the men the predator, more or less.
Because we have this thing with men that we're not allowed to acknowledge that we're being victimized, that we're being attacked. Only women are allowed to be seen as victims.
Can someone be masculine but not a man, or be a man but not masculine?
Yes.
So why then is masculinity even applied to men in the first place?
I think because of traditional beliefs.
No, I think you could be a man and not masculine. You know, I think there's a middle ground there. I think we kind of push like super masculinity, but you don't have to be a masculine to be considered a real man.
So then why is masculinity even applied to men in the first place?
Because
I disagree with them. I think there's a degree of masculinity that is required to be a real man. Because you need a backbone. You need to be able to stand on your own ground, stand on your own words. And that is what most people are lacking. Men and women.
Because, I don't know, it's just like assume that men are supposed to be masculine, I guess.
I'm not sure how you would define masculinity anymore. And I've seen couples all the time where you can tell that the woman is the masculine. I mean, straight couples where, you can tell the woman is actually absolutely the masculine in the couple.
Yeah.
So I don't know that it's not defined as black and white as it used to be for sure.
Yep.
Why is there so much confusion about what a woman is?
But yet they always want to place it on men. And the toxic version of masculinity is always on men. But when women do it, it's just them trying to catch up to the patriarchy.
But everyone seems to know what a real man is.
That's a damn good question. I mean, penis, vagina. That's all I got to say.
I agree with
Why
that.
can a woman be anything she wants while a man is still clearly defined?
Penis, vagina. I don't know. I'm done with it. Yeah.
I don't know. Women are just different. They just have to be different. Women have so many different personalities. Men are just like confirmed. Like they're just.
So men are all the same type of men? Predator and rapists?
They're very simplistic. Women are very difficult.
Because the pressure to perform is always on men. So there's always a set expectation. There's always a set bar of what you have to do.
Yeah,
Why
for
can
the
a woman be
performance.
anything she wants while a man is still clearly defined?
Because we live in a gynocentric world, and if a man had that same perspective that you could do anything you want, then it would kind of be hard for men to be controlled.
Yeah.
It's a part of the agenda, and women wanting to break into the patriarch. And the way to do that is to confuse and to defuse anything that might be perceived as masculine and not praise anything that is truly a masculine trait beyond the convenient traits.
Why can a woman
This young gentleman. Kudos to you, good sir. Kudos to you.
be anything she wants while a man is still clearly defined?
Well, because again, like I said, the future is female, and that's the agenda they want us to progress to. So that's what the narrative is. But at the end of the day, as men, we set our boundaries, we establish ourselves as such, and we're going to always be men regardless. True men knew that. Regardless, and a real woman will recognize and respect it either way.
How would you define mansplaining?
I would define it as a man explaining to a woman about something that they think they have no or little previous knowledge of.
When a man starts to push a solution rather than listening to the nature of the problem.
The old man knows. The old man knows. It's true. It's if you're not listening and absorbing their stupid story, then you're trying to solve the problem and fix it for them. You're mansplaining. This is exactly it. Oh man, that's old man.
A lot of times a woman just wants to express her frustration. Man's got to solve it. And
Yep.
that can be a pain. Advice when it's not wanted or when it's forced.
How is that different than women explaining what a real man is?
Because women explaining what a real man is them shaming you to conform to what they want you to do and who they want you to be as a man.
Women explaining what a real man is sounds like nonsense. So I would say they have something in common. They're both nonsensical.
Who is the bigger simp, a male feminist or a chivalrous white knight who believes all women are sacred?
The feminist.
Shit.
Why?
Damn, that's a good question. Which one is worse?
Both of them are just doing it to try to get in the person's pants. But the feminist,
The one that thinks all women are sacred, because the worst thing you could do is pedestalize women and think that a woman is better than you, because you gotta devalue yourself when you do that.
Isn't chivalry pushed by religious conservatives?
Yes, but chivalry is dead.
I think that feminists can be chivalrous. So that part I stand on. You know what I'm saying? I mean, to be chivalrous, I can be chivalrous to a little old lady and give her my seat on the bus, right? Same thing to define it, I believe.
Don't women define masculinity based on what benefits them?
Yes, absolutely.
So how are the traditional women any better than the feminist women?
Well, they all are beautiful and deserve to be protected, but at the same time, as men, we have to establish our boundaries, respect our own boundaries, respect women, protect women, and not deal with bullshit.
What is the difference between feminist women shaming men for being toxically masculine versus traditional women shaming men for not being masculine enough?
There's really no difference. You know, men can't really do anything to win. It's like no matter what you do, you're always going to take an L.
You know, it's crazy because the women, the modern women that are shaming men for being masculine, most of them are masculine.
Yeah.
So it doesn't make any sense at all. It really doesn't.
So how are the traditional women any better than the feminist women?
They're not. They're both shaming men into conforming to what they think is more beneficial to them.
Correct.
Don't women define masculinity based on what benefits them?
I think everybody defines everything in the world on what benefits them. I mean,
I like this old lady. She's right. She's very straightforward with her answers.
that's everybody trying to see the best for themselves. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? That's human
true.
nature, I think.
So just because you're anti-feminist, does that necessarily mean you're pro-men?
No, not at all. I think both sides have an equal amount of women that hate men.
So why isn't misandry the problem rather than masculinity?
Misandry is a huge problem that no one ever talks about. All we talk about is misogyny, but it should definitely be talked about more.
What's the difference between feminists labeling anything they don't like as misogyny versus conservatives labeling anything they don't like as immorality?
There is no difference. It's always shaming what you don't want and shaming what doesn't fit your narrative. It's always shame, shame, shame.
It's ridiculous for some.
Yeah, it's funny that shame is such a big tactic against men, but we can't use this exact tactic against women either. We're not allowed to slut shame. We're not allowed to body shame and all these things. They're allowed to height shame. They're allowed to call us ugly. They're allowed to call us broke or whatever the fuck they want to call us. You know, toxic.
Someone to impose their religious morality on someone, use it to shame them. It just doesn't make any sense for a man to do that, a religious person to do that. It doesn't make any sense for a woman to do that. They're not making a better world. I mean, they're just like, the world should be like me. That's a pathetic kind of narcissism. That's a disease.
I mean, you know, I think that the masculine women are trying to be something that maybe they don't necessarily fit into the role, so they're trying to change the role. And
That's it. She's right. she's 100% correct. I don't probably talk about it this much, but yes, the masculine women do not fit into the role of men anymore. They don't, and they never will now. But because they still want men, they still want a companionship. Now they have to redefine everything. They have to change the whole game, the whole everything of relationships, marriage, and stuff, so that they can still fit in there and still get everything that they want.
The traditional women are having a hard time because their role is going away. You know what I'm saying? It's like evaporating. Everything is very fluid right now. Everything is changing.
Aren't they both coming from a self-righteous ideology?
Just like men, it's no different. Everybody's got the self-righteous ideology, if you think about it. Unless they're totally insecure and you know what I'm saying, and can't stand up for themselves, those are the only people that are not trying to see things from their point of view.
Who shames male sexuality more? Feminists for labeling men as sexual predators, or religious conservatives for shaming sex outside marriage?
I think the ones that shame sex outside of marriage, for sure, because they look at it as anybody that's not married is kind of committing a sin. And
I'm a little bit on the opposite of this. I think it's okay because they put that stringency on both sexes, where the other side, it's usually kind of only put on the men.
If men want purity, wouldn't that mean men have to wait until marriage? And haven't we established men shouldn't be getting married under the current laws?
I do believe that if men want purity, it does mean waiting until marriage, but I am not up to date on the current laws.
I don't believe that anybody should get married without having sex first, because if the sex is no good, the marriage won't last, period.
I mean, I don't think you have to wait to marriage to find a pure woman, but I definitely think the laws need to change because they don't benefit us at all. Why would any man want to get married under the current laws?
Why are conservatives still pushing for traditional gender roles in marriage without first changing the laws?
Well, marriage isn't set up for men to be beneficiaries if it ends. And regardless, in our society, women have always been the protected class.
Because even though the laws don't benefit us, there's a lot of profit in divorce. So it kind of benefits, a certain system for the laws to still stay in place, as messed up as that sounds.
They're just pushing for what they know. That's all. It's like they're stuck in a rut, and that's where they're going to stay. They don't want to expand their thought process. They believe what they believe is right, which is, it's not wrong. You know what I'm saying? For those people, let them do what they want to do. If you think it's wrong, or you think you should only eat fish on Friday, then for you, that's all you should eat. I don't feel that way, so I shouldn't be held to those standards.
Agreed.
If being a masculine man means accepting the burden of others, why would anyone want to be a man by that definition?
You wouldn't, but the pressure is no matter what the circumstances, no matter the situation, you as a man just have to take it and perform. And
it's part of society. If men don't do this, society crumbles very, very fast. And so I think how society kind of pushes it on men is to keep society running. Again, because if men all just gave up on everything, society would not be running right now. If men just didn't care about women and didn't do things to better women, to better society, to better families in general, everything would crumble.
anyways,
Take it like a man?
yes, sir.
A real man is not going to look at things as a burden. It's just certain things that you go through in life to get to where you want to get to. And sometimes you got to help other people out. It's not a burden. Everything is a lesson and a learn.
I agree with that, though. There are burdens, but it's how you view those burdens. If it helps you move to another aspect of your life that, that gets you the money, gets you women, or gets you to your goal, it's okay.
It's something to learn from.
I think people miss strong men. We look at the chaotic world we're in, the riots, people taking advantage and stealing, just going into a store. Doesn't the world want someone to stand up and say, knock this shit off? I'm not going to stand here and watch this anymore. It's wrong. I was put on this earth for a reason. I am going to fight it when I see it. That's what a man is. You want to call that toxic, you can. I don't.
If being masculine is a natural process, why are men often shamed to be sculpted that way?
Yeah, I mean, the whole thing of becoming high value, I think that's the...
I mean, it works both ways on this. Yes, we're shamed for, leaning towards our masculinity and, kind of being raised that way. And women are now being shamed, for being housewives and their femininity. So both sexes are being shamed to what they were actually built for. That's the narrative.
The main thing, right? Where it's kind of like you're shamed to become high value, and if you're not high value, you're low value.
Yeah.
Where there should be a middle ground of men that are still at a good place in their life, but still trying to become better each day.
Yeah.
Why should men continue to be placed into a sacrificial role when women have been liberated from their role?
You know what? Life is what you make it. Always has been, always will be. So men putting themselves into that role, that's the option. They put themselves there. If you don't want to be there, then don't be there.
Why was manhood always defined
Midtown. Passport bros. That's what she's talking about.
as a servitude to women?
Because the expectation is that a man should provide, regardless, that is your duty.
I don't believe it was. It's the opposite. I believe that women were defined as a servitude to men with that whole Adam and Eve thing, and she was made from the rib, and so she was supposed to be blah, 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 all that, yeah.
Why is it that in the age of independent women, a man's value is often determined by what he provides?
Well, it's kind of hypocritical, right? Because these independent women can do everything by themselves, but yet they still want a man to provide. So there's hypocrisy there.
But like I said, that's changing some. I mean, there are some women that are out there making the money now, and the guy's staying home. So then it's
Rare. Like there are some women that do that, but there's very few men that are staying home that, are taking care of the household. And if they are, those marriages don't usually last too well. There are some that do, but it's just most women do not look for that type of figure in their life. They want a masculine figure. They want someone to take charge. They want someone to go under, in a sense, and have them lead. But women having to lead isn't always the best thing, especially for women.
it's by what the masculine role provides. How's that? Which doesn't have to be male or female.
Why
I
are we still
kinda agree.
promoting traditionalism when most women don't want to be traditional?
Yeah. Most women don't want to be traditional, but the pressure is on us to still be traditional either way. Regardless of how they behave, we're still expected to stick to our gender roles.
Do women want to be independent while also being provided for?
Of course they do.
And if so, who's more delusional in their wants?
Woman, definitely.
Isn't that having your cake and eating it too?
Yeah, of course it is. It's delicious.
We put our blinders on and we see it as, this is amazing. I have a man that loves and cares for me. But also at the same time, women want to be able to be independent of themselves and work hard for themselves and be proud of what they've earned.
How are men supposed to be providers when they now have to compete in a job market that favors women?
Right, because women are going to get the job over you. So if you're expected to provide, how can you provide when the jobs are being taken from you?
Equality and equity. You got to understand the difference. And once society recognizes the differences, we can create a solution that everybody benefits.
If we push traditionalism, are we going to remove equal employment opportunities, which prevent men from fulfilling the traditional roles they're advocating for?
Yeah, they're definitely not going to change the laws. The deck is kind of stacked against us. The expectation is that we got to provide, we got to perform, but the laws kind of don't favor us at all to be even able to do that in the first place.
If being a masculine man means accepting the burden of others, why would anyone want to be a man by that definition?
Because that's what we do. We go out there, we chop shit up, we blow shit up, and we handle business.
How does being masculine help men who are screwed over by the family court system?
It doesn't. You could be the most masculine person in the world. It doesn't stop you from getting screwed over by the laws, from getting screwed over from divorce. It doesn't stop anything.
They always favor the woman unless you have resounding evidence that woman was really, 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 really terrible. And even sometimes still that doesn't matter. So at the end of the day, you just got to have receipts.
How does being masculine help men who are falsely accused?
It doesn't. The laws have to change. Masculinity isn't an answer to the laws in the system. The laws have to change.
If you are honorable and noble, which are traits that are associated with masculinity as well, hopefully, prayerfully, inshallah, all those things will shine through.
Whether a man is masculine or not, doesn't he...
A little idealistic, but it doesn't work that way in real life.
Still deserve equal justice?
Absolutely, always.
So why is there so much focus about masculinity rather than men's rights?
Yeah, the masculinity agenda is pushed heavily, and we never focus on the laws, the actual problem that need to be changed and addressed.
Because at the end of the day, men have always made the laws. Men have always had the rights. Women couldn't vote. Women couldn't participate in certain things for a while. And after a while, those scales have to balance, and that's the time of reckoning that we are currently facing.
What's the difference between feminist women shaming men for being men and traditional women shaming men for not being real men?
There is no difference. It's shame men, shame men, shame men. Bring them down and make them weak and able to be controlled.
If you're trying to make a man be what he's not, that's objectionable. If you're trying to make him tougher, you're trying to make him weaker. It's just let him be what he is, you know?
Wouldn't that equate modern misandry to feminism and traditional misandry to chivalry?
That's a very good point. Yes, absolutely.
Don't both place women at a status above men?
Yep, women are always up here and men are always down here.
Wouldn't that equate modern misandry to feminism and traditional misandry to chivalry?
Traditional misandry. God, this is like being on Jeopardy. Okay.
That was actually really good. I enjoyed all the interviewers or the interviewees and the questions he was asking. It is tough right now to be a man because you're kind of leaning towards being masculine, leaning towards certain things, but society has also told you, no, you got to put women on a pedestal, you got to be nice to them, you got to do all this. So men are battling internally, and as they grow up, usually one wins over, and then they get fucked over, and we usually know who wins over, and it's the femininity, the toxicness of men, gets driven into young men nowadays. So now they go about it blue-pilled, doing all these things, and then they get screwed over. And then they get screwed over so bad they go find our content and then blow everything up. Like, fuck the system, fuck marriage, fuck everything. I'm done. Or, you know what? I still like marriage, but fuck this system. I'm going to another system that probably is a little bit better for me. That's great. So please like and subscribe down below. I really appreciate that. And I'll catch you guys next time. Ciao.